The shuttle's engines hummed a steady, reassuring vibration beneath their feet as the battered exploration team settled into the cramped cabin, leaving behind the frozen, crystalline world of Ilum. Outside the viewport stretched an endless expanse of jagged ice forests, shimmering with the pale light of the distant star. The cold wind, which had gnawed at their skin and threatened to freeze their very souls, was now just a memory, replaced by the sterile hum of the ship and the quiet murmurs of the survivors. Dr. Elias sat with her journal balanced on her knees, her fingers tracing the worn leather cover as if it could anchor her to the reality they had left behind. Her sharp features, softened by exhaustion and relief, reflected the weight of the mission's cost. The loss of comrades, the betrayals, the moments when hope had nearly slipped through their fingers all pressed heavily upon her mind. Yet beneath the sorrow, a fierce ember of determination burned. The secrets uncovered beneath Ilum's ice had shattered old paradigms, challenging everything humanity thought it knew about ancient civilizations and their place in the cosmos. "You really think anyone back home will believe what we found?" Myra Thalon's voice broke the silence, her bright eyes flickering with a mix of wonder and doubt as she fiddled with a small alien device they managed to salvage. Grease smudged her hands and face, a testament to the frantic work she had done to keep their technology operational. Ilara looked up, meeting Mira's gaze with a tired but resolute smile. "They have to. This changes everything." Captain Rian Kessler stood near the cockpit, his broad shoulders silhouetted against the dim glow of the instrument panels. His scarred cheek, usually taut with vigilance, relaxed slightly as he watched the exchange. The rigid soldier who had led them through storms and betrayals now seemed a man softened by shared hardship. He caught Myra's glance and offered a brief nod, a silent acknowledgement of their bond forged in the crucible of survival. "We made it," Jonas Reeves said quietly from his seat nearby, adjusting his glasses as he checked the vitals monitor. His tall, thin frame seemed less imposing than usual, worn down by the relentless strain of tending to the team's physical and mental wounds. "But we're not the same people who landed on Ilum," Lena Ortiz, seated beside the communications console, cracked a small smile despite the tension. "I'm about to send a transmission to Earth. It won't be perfect, but it's our link back to reality. Our story has to be told." The shuttle's cabin filled with a charged silence as Lena keyed the transmitter. Static hissed through the speakers before her voice, steady but laced with emotion, broke through. "This is the Ilum expedition team. We have survived. We have answers. We have warnings." Outside, the planet's icy surface receded, the last glimmers of crystalline spires fading into the void. The Ilum enigma, that enigmatic force guarding ancient legacies, remained a mystery, its warning etched into the fabric of their experience. But the human spirit, tested and tempered, had endured. Alara closed her journal, the pages heavy with discoveries, losses, and hopes. The journey home was just beginning, but the echoes of Ilum's frozen frontier would resonate within them forever. As the shuttle accelerated toward the cold stars, the survivors faced an uncertain future, bound by the shared knowledge that humanity's place in the universe was far more complex, more wondrous and more dangerous than they had ever imagined. And as the stars stretched out before them, Ilara's final thought lingered like the fading light on Ilum. What price would they pay for the secrets they carried? The answer, she knew, was yet to come. The air on Ilum was sharp enough to cut through the thickest layers of clothing, a constant reminder that survival here demanded respect and vigilance. Dr. Ilara Voss adjusted the collar of her parka as she peered through the crystalline forest. where towering ice formations stretched into the pale sky like the spires of some ancient cathedral. The ground beneath their boots was a treacherous mosaic of glassy ice and frozen snow, each step a calculated risk. Beside her, Thomas Vere knelt, his gloved hands delicately handling a cluster of translucent crystals embedded in the snow. "Look at this," he murmured, his breath fuming in the cold air. "These formations aren't just natural ice, there's an energy signature here that doesn't match anything in the geological database." Alara crouched, her eyes narrowing as she examined the crystals. They shimmered faintly with an inner light, colors shifting subtly beneath the surface, like the pulse of a living organism. She placed a sensor against the ice, watching as readings flickered uncertainly on a handheld device. "Unusual energy readings," she confirmed. "It's almost as if the ice itself is charged with some kind of latent power." Could this be related to the transmission signal? Thomas shook his head slowly. "If so, it's unlike anything we've seen. The crystalline lattice here is too perfect, too ordered. It almost feels engineered." From a nearby ridge, Captain Rion Kessler's silhouette stood rigid against the horizon. His gaze swept the surrounding terrain, every muscle taut with readiness. The wind howled, carrying with it the faint crackle of ice shifting beneath the surface. He tapped his comms, voice low but steady. "All units report. Stay alert for any signs of instability. We can't afford surprises out here." Lena Ortiz, wrapped tightly in layered gear, crouched near a communications array. Her fingers danced over the controls, ears straining to catch any sign of the lost transmission. Static crackled through the speakers, and then, faintly, a garbled pulse of sound and echo from the depths of Ilum's frozen silence. She smiled, a spark of hope breaking through the isolation. "Captain, I'm picking up something faint but consistent. It's weak, but it's there." Kessler nodded briskly. "Keep me posted. We'll need to triangulate that signal if we're going to find the source." Back at the survey site, Alara summoned the team around a holographic projection emanating from Tomas's portable device. The map glowed with a soft blue light, the crystalline forests rendered in intricate detail. Lines and markers traced their path through the shifting ice, highlighting potential hazards and areas of interest. "These anomalies aren't isolated," Alara explained, pointing to clusters of energy readings beneath the surface. "They form a network, interconnected and possibly active. Whatever created them left a footprint that still resonates beneath the ice." Myra Thallon, though not present in this moment, had already begun theorizing what such technology might imply. But here, in the frozen frontier, the team was reminded that the planet itself was as much an adversary as any ancient defense. As the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows through the crystalline spires, a sudden tremor rippled beneath their feet. A low rumble echoed through the air, and the ice beneath the nearest cluster of crystals cracked faintly, fracturing the eerie stillness. "Movement," Kessler warned, raising his arm sharply. "Positions." The team scattered to defensive stances, eyes scanning the horizon for signs of threat. Moments passed, heavy with tension, before the tremors subsided, leaving the silence even more profound. Ilara's heart raced. The planet was alive in ways they had yet to understand, and the frozen frontier was only the beginning of the mysteries they would have to face. Their discoveries promised unprecedented knowledge, but at what cost? Even as they prepared to push further into the crystalline maze, the question lingered in the frozen air, what lay beneath the surface, waiting to be awakened. The expedition's path forward was as uncertain as the shifting ice beneath their feet, but one truth was clear. The lost transmission was no mere anomaly. It was a beacon beckoning them deeper into the heart of Ilum's frozen enigma. The biting wind howled relentlessly outside the exploration camp's communications tent, a ceaseless reminder of Ilum's brutal, frozen expanse. Inside, the atmosphere was starkly different, charged with a palpable tension that seemed to vibrate through the low hum of electronic equipment and the rhythmic tapping of Lena Ortiz's fingers across the console. Lena's eyes, sharp and alert beneath strands of dark hair that had escaped her hastily tied back ponytail, flickered between the scattered data on the interface and the array of blinking lights that signaled incoming transmissions. The static was a constant companion on Ilum, a white noise that seemed to cling to the air like frost on the crystalline ice around them. Yet, amid the crackles and hisses, something new emerged, a pattern, faint but unmistakable. Her breath hitched as she leaned closer, adjusting the frequency, her fingers deftly tuning the receiver. The signal sharpened, fragments coalescing into a sequence that sent a thrill racing down her spine. It was like hearing a whispered secret from the past, something lost but not gone, calling out through the void. "I've got something," Lena announced, her voice breaking the tense silence. Her warm smile was a rare beacon in the cold sterility of the tent. It's faint and fragmented, but it matches the signature of the lost transmission we've been chasing. From the shadows of the tent's entrance, Dr. Ilara Voss stepped forward, her lean frame silhouetted against the dim glow of the equipment. Her weather-beaten face bore the marks of months spent in harsh environments, but her eyes burned with the same fierce determination that had driven her from the quiet halls of academia to this frozen frontier. "Show me," Ilara said, her voice steady yet tinged with a surge of excitement. She moved beside Lena, peering at the shifting data with a practiced eye. If this is genuine, it could be the breakthrough we need. Captain Rion Kessler, ever the stoic sentinel, stood by the tent's transparent wall, his broad shoulders squared as he scanned the raging blizzard outside. The scar on his left cheek caught the flickering light, a silent testament to battles fought and lives lost. He didn't speak immediately, but his gaze was sharp, assessing both the signal and the implications it carried. "We need to verify it," Kessler finally said, his voice gravelly with cautious pragmatism. "False positives out here could waste time we don't have." Mira Thalon, the team's engineering prodigy, joined them, her bright eyes alight with curiosity despite the grease smudges on her cheeks. She carried a small portable receiver, which she began to calibrate with quick, confident movements. "If we can amplify the signal and isolate its source," she mused, "we might get a better fix on where it's coming from. This could be the key to everything." Jonas Reeve, the medical officer and biologist, lingered quietly near the doorway, his tall, thin frame watching the interplay of anticipation and skepticism. He adjusted his glasses, a habitual gesture that belied the steady calm he brought to the team's emotional tempests. "We should proceed carefully," Jonas advised softly. "The signal could be a trap, or worse, a warning. We don't know what we're dealing with yet." Ilara nodded thoughtfully, the weight of their predicament pressing down on her. "Every step forward has its risks, but this signal is the only thread we have to unravel the mystery of Ilum." Outside, the snow continued to fall, thick and unyielding, swallowing the crystalline ice forests in a blanket of white. The storm that had been gathering since dawn showed no signs of abating, and the harsh environment beyond the camp's fragile shelters seemed to pulse with unseen intelligence. As Lena worked to enhance the signal, the team clustered around a flickering holographic map projected from the console. The patterns of the ice forests stretched out beneath their feet, veined with shifting blues and whites that glowed softly in the dim light. Each new data point was a beacon of hope and a harbinger of danger. The debate was intense. Some argued for immediate pursuit of the signal's source, driven by scientific curiosity and the promise of discovery. Others, wary from exhaustion and the ceaseless cold, urged caution, mindful of the growing tensions within the team and the unknown perils lurking beneath Ilum's frozen surface. "If this signal is real," Lena said, determination threading her voice, "we can't ignore it. Not now, not after everything we've been through." Ilara's gaze met Kessler's. "We'll need a plan, one that balances urgency with safety. We can't afford another mistake." Kessler's jaw tightened. "Agreed. I'll coordinate reconnaissance flights and security patrols. We move carefully, stay alert. No unnecessary risks." Myra chimed in. "I'll prepare the equipment to track and analyze any technological signatures. Whatever is out there, we'll be ready." Jonas added quietly, "And I'll monitor the team's health. The cold and stress are already taking their toll. We must be prepared for anything." As the team finalized their plans, Lena's fingers hovered over the console one last time, capturing the faint echoes of the signal that had reawakened their mission. It was a fragile lifeline, a whisper from the depths of Ilum's icy wilderness, beckoning them forward. The storm outside intensified, the wind howling like a living creature, but inside the tent, hope flickered against the encroaching darkness. They were on the cusp of something monumental, a discovery that could rewrite history or doom them all. Lena's eyes met Ilara's, ready to find out what's really out there. Ilara nodded, a fierce resolve settling over her like armor. "We have to be, for the sake of everything we believe in." As the signal pulsed softly through the cold airwaves, the team prepared to step deeper into the mysteries of Ilum, a frozen planet whose secrets were as sharp and fragile as the crystalline forests that cloaked its surface. The hunt for the source of the lost transmission had just begun, and with it a new chapter in their perilous expedition. But with every step closer, the unknown loomed larger, a silent, shifting force that watched from the shadows, waiting. And Ilum was not ready to reveal all its secrets yet. The faint crackle of the signal was a siren song in the frozen night, a promise and a warning intertwined. What lay beyond the ice was anyone's guess, but the team was determined to find out, no matter the cost. The storm raged on, and the lost signals whispered on, carrying the weight of ancient mysteries and the hopes of those brave enough to seek them. The journey into the heart of Ilum's enigma was far from over, and the true test of survival was just beginning. The frozen expanse of Ilum stretched endlessly before them, a vast labyrinth of crystalline ice forests, shimmering with an otherworldly blue light that filtered through towering ice pillars like spectral sentinels. Eli Marks crouched at the edge of a recently exposed crevasse, the thin crack in the ice gaping like a silent maw. His breath fogged in the frigid air as he ran a slender laser scanner along the jagged edges, the device humming softly as it projected a detailed map of the fissures' depth and breadth onto his wrist console. "This one's deeper than I thought," Eli muttered, eyes narrowing. The light beneath the ice pulsed faintly, casting eerie shadows that danced in the scanner's glow. "If we don't take the North Ridge, we risk falling miles down." Captain Rion Kessler approached, his heavy boots crunching on the brittle ice. The scar on his left cheek stood out starkly against the pale landscape. "Good catch," he said in his usual stoic tone. "We can't afford any mistakes here. What's our best option?" Eli pointed toward a narrow, winding path weaving around a series of crystalline pillars. "There's a route that skirts the edge, but it's unstable. The ice shifts constantly. What's solid one day might collapse the next. We'll need to move carefully and keep constant watch." Ilara Voss joined them, her lean frame silhouetted against the shimmering horizon. "How soon can we get the rest of the team through?" We're losing daylight, and the temperature's dropping fast. I'll lead the way, Eli offered, standing and checking his gear. I've mapped out the safest path so far. We just have to trust the data. Mira Thalon, ever restless, adjusted the straps on her toolkit. If we run into more of those energy anomalies, I'll be ready. Maybe I can stabilize some of the ice with the tech I've been working on. Jonas Reeve, the team's medical officer, looked on with cautious optimism. Just don't take unnecessary risks. The cold is already taking its toll. The team set out, their boots crunching on the brittle ice as they navigated the maze-like forest of crystalline spires. The sun, a pale orb behind heavy clouds, cast fractured light across the ice, creating a kaleidoscope of colors that dazzled and disoriented in equal measure. Eli's scanning device beeped softly, warning of thin ice and unstable ground ahead. At one point, the team reached a narrow ice bridge spanning a yawning fissure. The sound of their footsteps echoed hollowly in the frozen silence. Ilara's heart pounded as she took the first cautious steps across, the ice groaning beneath her weight. Behind her, the others followed, each movement measured and deliberate. "Keep close," Kessler instructed, his voice low but steady. No sudden moves. Suddenly, a faint crack split the air. The ice beneath Myra's foot shifted alarmingly. She froze, eyes wide, then carefully shifted her weight to safer ground. "That was close," she whispered. Eli immediately scanned the area, his hands steady despite the tension. "We're pushing the limits here. The ice is more dynamic than we realized. We'll need to adjust our route to avoid these weak points." Hours passed as they slowly charted a course through the treacherous terrain. The team's communication was sparse but efficient, each member relying on the other's expertise to survive. Captain Kessler's commanding presence kept nerves in check, while Eli's meticulous navigation prevented disaster. As dusk approached, they reached a ridge overlooking the crystalline canopy. Ilara paused, the icy wind biting at her exposed skin beneath her hood. Below, the ice forest stretched in all directions, a frozen sea of glittering spires and shadowed valleys. "It's breathtaking," she breathed, her eyes reflecting the shimmering landscape. "But it's also a reminder of how little we truly understand this place." Mira nodded, her gaze fixed on the distant horizon. "Every step forward feels like we're peeling back a layer of some ancient secret. But at what cost?" Jonas placed a reassuring hand on Elara's shoulder. "We're not alone out here. We have each other, and that counts for a lot." Night fell swiftly, the temperature plummeting as they set up a temporary camp beneath a cluster of ice pillars. The soft hum of their equipment mingled with the distant howling wind, a lullaby of survival in a world that refused to yield its mysteries easily. Eli reviewed his maps once more, adjusting coordinates and marking hazardous zones. "Tomorrow, we push deeper," he said quietly. "The path is still uncertain, but every discovery brings us closer to the heart of Ilum's enigma." Captain Kessler nodded, eyes scanning the horizon. "Stay sharp. The ice has secret sound, it's not done revealing them yet." As the team settled in for the night, the frozen planet whispered around them, its crystalline forests alive with unseen dangers and ancient echoes. The mapping of the unknown had begun, and with it, the fragile thread of hope that would guide them through the perilous journey ahead. The early morning light found the team awakening beneath a sky streaked with frost. Eli was already moving, his scanner sweeping ahead as they prepared to break camp. The air was sharp and cold, every breath a visible plume in the stillness. "We need to keep close," Kessler reminded the group. Visibility can drop fast if the weather turns. As they advanced, the ice beneath their feet shifted subtly, the forest seeming to breathe in slow, deliberate rhythms. Eli's device beeped urgently. A hidden crevasse, masked by a thin crust of ice, lay just ahead. "Stop," Eli commanded, his voice taut with urgency. "This isn't stable. We have to detour." Alara exhaled slowly, her eyes scanning the terrain. "Good catch. One wrong step and we'd be lost." The detour led them through a narrow valley where the ice pillars glittered with strange bioluminescent veins. Mira, fascinated, knelt to examine a glowing fragment embedded in the ice. "This technology, it's unlike anything we've seen," she murmured, carefully retrieving a small shard for analysis. Jonas, ever watchful, reminded the team, "Stay aware. The planet isn't just cold, it's alive in ways we don't fully grasp." The day wore on with steady progress, the team's trust in Eli's navigation growing as he uncovered paths hidden beneath layers of ice and snow. Yet with every step deeper into the crystalline forest, the sense of mystery thickened, the shadows lengthening like silent warnings. As evening approached, Captain Kessler gathered the team around a flickering heat source. "We've made good progress, but this terrain is unpredictable. We need to be prepared for anything." Alara nodded, her mind already racing with possibilities. "Tomorrow, we map the area around the eastern ridge. It's showing unusual energy readings." Myra's eyes sparkled with a mix of excitement and trepidation. "And maybe we'll find more pieces of the puzzle." The night settled over Ilum once more, the frozen frontier holding its secrets close. The expedition pressed on, each mapped step a testament to human endurance and the relentless pursuit of the unknown. "Eli, you see anything up ahead?" Kessler asked, scanning the horizon with narrowed eyes. Eli adjusted his scanner, the device casting a blue glow across his determined face. "There's a cluster of ice formations about 2 clicks ahead. Some look unstable. We'll need to navigate carefully." The team moved as one, their movements synchronized by training and necessity. Suddenly, the ice beneath them groaned ominously, warning cry before a section of the path cracked open, revealing a deep chasm. "Back," Kessler barked, pulling Mira and Jonas away from the edge. Ilara stumbled but caught herself, heart racing. "That was too close," Jonas muttered, checking his medical kit nervously. Ilara steadied her breathing. "We can't keep risking it like this. Eli, can you find a safer way around?" Eli tapped rapidly on his wrist console, eyes flicking over terrain scans. "There's a ridge to the west that might work. It'll add time, but it's less unstable." Kessler gave a curt nod. "Time is a luxury, but safety comes first." The detour took them higher, the air thinning and the cold intensifying. From their vantage point, the crystalline canopy stretched endlessly, a surreal landscape of glistening ice and shadows. Ilara's voice was soft but resolute. "Every step forward is a risk, but the secrets beneath this ice, they're worth it." Mira smiled wryly. "Just don't expect me to get frostbite for history's sake." Laughter broke the tension briefly, a fragile warmth against the biting cold. As the team pressed onward, the ice whispered beneath their feet, a reminder that on Ilum, the unknown was never far away. Later that evening, as the team huddled around their campfire, Eli spread out a holographic map. The glowing lines traced their path through the ice forest, marking hazards and safe zones. "We've covered a lot of ground," Eli said, voice tired but satisfied. "But the terrain ahead is changing. The ice is thicker, but there are more energy signatures, possibly the ruins Elias been chasing." Kessler looked up sharply. "That means more danger. Automated defenses, traps." Ilara nodded. We'll need to be ready, but this map gives us an edge. With careful planning, we can avoid the worst. Mira leaned forward, eyes gleaming, and maybe even find ways to use the technology against the planet's defenses. Jonas sighed, rubbing his temples. Let's just make it out in one piece first. The team exchanged determined looks, the weight of their mission pressing down but not crushing their resolve. On Ilum, every mapped inch was a victory, every step a defiance of the frozen unknown. As the fire flickered low, Ilara's gaze drifted to the horizon, where the crystalline ice forests shimmered beneath an alien sky. The journey was far from over, but for now, they had a path forward. And that was everything. Tomorrow, Ilara whispered to herself, before sleep took her, we move deeper into the heart of Ilum. The frozen planet waited, silent and watchful. The unknown beckoned. The cold seeped into every corner of the base camp, biting through the layers of thermal gear and settling like a living thing among the crystalline walls of ice. Inside the makeshift command tent, the atmosphere was no less frigid, though for very different reasons. The holographic map flickered erratically, casting pale blue hues over the faces of the gathered team members. Dr. Ilara Voss stood at the center, her expression taut but composed, as voices around her began to rise in heated debate. I'm telling you, Captain, the fissure on the North Ridge is our best chance, Mira Thallen insisted, her bright eyes blazing with conviction. She stood with arms crossed, grease smudges marking her sleeves, tools hanging from her belt jingling faintly with every emphatic gesture. The energy readings are off the charts, and if we can access that chamber, we might finally understand the technology buried beneath the ice. Captain Rion Kessler's jaw tightened, his broad frame rigid as he glared down at the map, the scar on his left cheek catching the flickering light. And I'm telling you, it's a death trap. The ice there is unstable, shifting faster than our scanners can track. One misstep, and we lose half the team. His voice was low but unyielding, the weight of responsibility pressing heavily in every word. Myra's hands balled into fists. If we don't take risks, we'll never get anywhere. This mission isn't about playing it safe. We're here to discover, to push boundaries. Kessler's eyes narrowed. Boundaries exist for a reason. Recklessness will get you and all of us killed. The room's temperature seemed to drop further as tension thickened the air. Doctor. Jonas Reeve adjusted his glasses nervously, stepping slightly back to avoid the escalating confrontation. Lena Ortiz, ever the optimist, tried to inject levity, but even her warm smile faltered under the weight of the argument. Ilara cleared her throat, drawing the room's attention. Enough. Her voice was calm, but carried the unmistakable authority that had earned her leadership. Both of you have valid points. Myra, your drive to explore is vital, but so is Kessler's insistence on safety. We cannot afford casualties, not now. She reached out, tapping a few commands on the console, smoothing the flickering map into a steady projection. Here's what I propose. A small reconnaissance team, led by Jonas and Eli, will survey the fissure at first light. They'll assess structural stability and gather data without committing the entire group. Myra, you'll prepare your equipment to analyze any artifacts discovered, but only when it's safe. Myra exhaled sharply, reluctant but recognizing Ilara's wisdom. Kessler's eyes softened for the briefest moment, a silent acknowledgement of the compromise. The storm outside intensified, howling against the crystalline walls, a reminder of the merciless environment surrounding them. Later that night, Myra sat alone at the edge of camp, the glow of a small workbench illuminating her focused expression. She delicately adjusted the alien device she had recovered days earlier, the strange metal cool beneath her fingers. The soft clicks and humming pulses of the artifact echoed dimly against the storm's roar. Despite the exhaustion and isolation, her mind raced with possibility and frustration. The device was unlike anything she had ever seen, its complexity both exhilarating and daunting. Meanwhile, Captain Kessler sat in the pilot's chair, staring out through the reinforced viewport into the frozen wasteland. The endless stretch of crystalline ice forests shimmered faintly beneath the storm's veil. His scarred face was etched with fatigue and something deeper haunting memory of a rescue mission gone wrong. The lives lost haunting his every decision. The burden of command weighed heavily, yet beneath the stoic exterior, a fragile vulnerability flickered. Back inside the command tent, Alara pored over data streams, her fingers flying across the console. She paused, her mind drifting to memories of her lost mentor, the man who had ignited her passion for uncovering ancient mysteries. The pressure to succeed, to honor his legacy, pressed down like the crushing cold outside. But she knew the team's survival depended on her steadiness, her ability to bridge divides and chart a safe course through uncertainty. As dawn approached, the uneasy alliance held for now. The team prepared to venture once again into the heart of Ilum's frozen enigma. Their conflicting philosophies, a fragile thread binding them together against the planet's relentless extremes. The question lingered, could they overcome their differences before the ice claimed them all? And as the first light pierced the storm clouds, a faint, unsettling shimmer danced beneath the ice, a silent warning that the planet's secrets were far from yielding, and the true test of unity and survival was only beginning.